set in your ways, and you seen how segregated it was back in the days. You know what I mean? It was almost like we was forced then to have more family structure. We was forced then to support one another more. We seen what our grandfathers and our ancestors went through. You know what I'm saying? We seen the struggle. You feel me? And if you listen to the music back then, the R&B and all this and that, you hear more love. You hear more gratitude for one another, so to say. So I can't really. I'm not even gonna. I can't. I'm not. I can't. I can't even direct this message towards the older people. So this doesn't necessarily include you, but this newer generation, 30 years after the detriment of the AFDC food stamp welfare warfare WAR fair, which was very unfair in the melanated community. Why? Because in order for those benefits to be paid out to the mother, the father had to be absent. You know what I'm saying? So was that not war declared? Was that not an initial declaration of war being declared silently on the nuclear home, right? So here we are, 30 years down the line from the 60s off into the 80s, right? You know what I'm saying? And then on from the 80s to the current day, right? So times have changed. People's mentalities have changed. You know what I'm saying? The inflation has gotten worse. The abstinence of fathers in the melanated communities has gotten worse. You know what I'm saying? The divide and conquer has become more prevalent. So with this disorder, right? So I'm going back to kind of what I started off with from the beginning. Why am I single? Why isn't, you know, I can't find that person, yada yada yada. See, a lot of what's going on now is a direct descendant of the past. In order to understand the future, you have to understand the past. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of the dysfunction that's going on now was something that was replicated from earlier trauma, passed down through the bloodline. It was passed through the blood. It was trauma through DNA. You know what I'm saying? Oppression. This crab in the bucket mentality is the main reason why in the melanated community you don't see too much unity. You know what I'm saying? So the black man begs the difference from the black woman, and once the thing is this here, once you're psychologically defeated, the body is going to follow, right? Once your mind has been got, the body is going to follow. Once your mind is defeated, then that's it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I say all that to say is that, you know, nowadays women don't really prioritize men like the older generation, I feel personally. Why? It's because a man has made it too easy. And what's easy to obtain is 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, if it's easy to get, it's not going to be valued as much as something that you had to work for. See what I'm saying? I can give you a car, but you appreciate that car more if you go out and bust your hard ass and spend your hard-earned money to get that car versus someone giving it to you. You know what what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, you know, and you still may appreciate someone giving it to you, but you get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? A person is more likely to appreciate something if they spend their hard-earned money on versus somebody else giving it to them. And it's the same way as in a relationship. Nowadays, a man is like, it's nothing hard to get. You know what I'm saying? The average fine woman or dime piece, so to say, has at least probably about 3 men minimum that she can run to at any time. About 10 guys. I'm at about 20 guys. 10 of them tricks, and the other 10 she can just call up anytime, right? So as a man nowadays is just typically not valued like that. You're more of an option than something to be valued as a human. So you're not even looked at as a human. It's almost like you're just a walking, breathing dildo. You just a being with the thing down there to please. You know what I'm saying? And after that, you're just easily disposed of. You know what I'm saying? Gratitude, thank you. Wham bam, thank you, man. You know what I'm saying? But even the guys nowadays, it's nothing to even brag about, because if he's not in tune with being a man and being like loving and caring and nurturing and supportive and protective to you as a woman, it's almost like as long as it's a hole in the wall, a man will find pleasure in that hole in the wall. You see what I'm saying? Pleasure in the hole in the wall. You see what I'm saying? So if we had more holes in the wall, I'm talking about literal hole, like drill a hole in the wall, them holes would be getting used. You know what I mean? So it's nothing about pleasure about that. You know what I mean? And so as far as a man obtaining a woman nowadays, you see, being defeated psychologically plays a part in it, and the reason why, you know, our women look at us the way they do, and we look at our women the way they do, with great disdain. It's a lot of disdain in that, because if it wasn't, we would have more successful marriages, we would have more successful relationships, we would have more people happy and content with who they with, you know what I mean, versus wanting to just date around, sleep around, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of it is instinctively, because a lot of us is just instinctively wanting to just have our cake and eat it too, and just live a free lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Not too many people want to feel like their freedom is taken away from them, so to say. You know what I'm saying? You know what they say when you trying to tame an animal, like tame. A lot of people don't want to feel tamed. You know what I'm saying? They want to feel free or whatever. You know what I mean? And not too many people want to go through anything with a person nowadays. You feel what I'm saying? That's another problem. Once the issue, like, things could go good the first 6 months, right? For instance, things can go good for the first 6 months, and then like the moment something happened to where that person is no longer making the type of money, or you know, God forbid, he lose their job or she lose her job, you know what I'm saying, the person start looking at the other person differently. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying, boom, now you forced to prove your love. All that love stuff you was talking from the beginning, now you forced to prove it, because there's no money psychological warfare that's been declared. These people had a 400-year, the Colombians had a 400-year advantage over us. And we barely had 70 years of actual, a little liberation. And note I said, poquito, little. A little liberation this last 70 years. You know what I mean? So, the reason why relationships are the way they are nowadays is because of that. You know what I mean? So, you really got your back against the wall. They make it seem to date outside your race. To date outside your race, they make it seem like it's the thing to do nowadays. You know what I mean? You know, but even at that, 9 times out of 10, who cares if people look down on you? Because they, you know, they tend to look down on you. You know what I'm saying? But whether a man date outside their race or a woman in a melanated community date outside their race, you know what I mean? It's like love who love you. You know what I mean? But it's like, of course, people going to be hostile towards that. You know what I mean? But when the opportunity presented itself for you to actually be with a person of your culture, you know, you have plenty of opportunities there. But I think the main problem is just the disconnect. A lot of guys are here crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, golly, I ain't never seen this many Tinder in my life. You know what I mean? Like, and it's nothing hard about, you know, if you can't find somebody, stay single. Nothing wrong with the single life. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with the single life at all. At all. Loving yourself, and you know, if you're a serial dater, then be a serial dater. You know what I'm saying? Being with one person makes you depressed, and things aren't working, and every time you get in a date, every time you get in a relationship, you're in and out, and you find flaws in a person that you didn't see from the beginning, because you gotta understand, flaws are inevitable. Everybody has flaws, you know what I'm saying? But I always was told, don't look down on somebody unless you willing to help that person up. But not everybody thinks like that. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to the flaws. So when you meet somebody, you know, you set yourself up for failure to think that they don't have flaws. You might just like that person just for their appearance or whatever. But soon appearance will fade. Soon the true character will reveal itself. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times that's where a lot of issues come from, and not keeping it real from the gateway. It's very important. Can't stress it enough that people just keep it real with who they are from the beginning. That way you can avoid problems later on the line. Because trust and believe, talking to a lot of my big brothers, talking to, you know, a lot of people that have been through stuff, whether they're younger than me or not, if they've been through something, I'm gonna take heed to it. You know what I mean? But I'm hearing these stories from men telling me that, you know, the realer a woman is from the beginning, the better it is for her down the line. You'll avoid a lot of headache. You'll avoid a lot of problems. You'll avoid a lot of men putting their hands on you. You get more control with the truth, because now this man know what to expect from you. Okay, now he knows what to expect. You know what I mean? Instead of setting him up for a failure. You see what I'm saying? Men are very prideful beings. And this is where a lot of the disdain comes from the melanated woman in the community. The hatred towards men is because you lured him in with a seductive nature where it was a lot of lies being sold in the beginning. Instead of selling the truth, it was lies being sold. And therefore, the uneducated man, the unknowledgeable man of women, the man who don't understand women, sometimes that plays hard on his ego. So when it plays hard on his ego, that's where a lot of the fights come in at. That's where a lot of the frustration come in at. That's where a lot of the betrayal come in at. You know what I'm saying? Because that man, he was never taught. He never learned at an early age. He didn't learn from nobody else's problems and issues. So it may not come at a cost with money, but it might somebody getting hospitalized. It may come at somebody a cost of somebody really getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? So when they say come at a cost, it may not always come at a cost of money. It may be on another level. You see what I'm saying? So the best way to get what you want out of a man is just to keep it real from the beginning. The best way to get what you want out of a woman is to keep it real with what they're getting themselves into from the beginning. Because there's always a secret agenda. There's always a hidden oath that you sign when you get into a relationship with somebody. Other than I love you. Because I love you is a four-letter word. Just like shit, just like that, just like, you know, day. That's all it is, four-letter word. And trust and believe. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So those little things that they say on the side, don't ignore that, because that's their heart speaking to you. See what I'm saying? So that's my message. That's why we're having dysfunction with the relationships. You know what I'm saying? You know, everybody's trying to get on top of each other. You know what I'm saying? And when your time is up with that person, you know, they're gonna repeat that same cycle. If they haven't learned from their mistakes, the cycle's only going to continue. You know what I mean? And if you know you're hurt and you're carrying this hurt and pain, it's best to just be single, date who you gonna date, enjoy your life. Nobody got time to stress. Nobody got time to argue. Nobody got time to be worrying about nothing, worrying about somebody staying or if they want to leave, if they love you or not. You know what I'm saying? The love could be real from the beginning, but fade over time. Nobody got time to be worrying. So, you know, if you're gonna be real from the beginning, and don't wait to hit a person with a surprise package down the line. That's the best way to get your ultimate respect from a real man, any kind of man. Just keep it real from the beginning. And I know some gonna say it's like, that's hard to do, because, you know, I'm used to this surface level person. I'm used to selling this person, you know, everything fake. You know, I'm used to selling this to the community. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to getting what I want with my looks alone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I understand. But that's one thing we need. We need to learn how to keep it more real with each other in this time and era. You know what I'm saying? You know, because this ain't the 50s and 60s no more. We're more loose with promiscuousness nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And it's not hard for a man to get a woman neither, if you're just decent looking. You know what I'm saying? And you got a mouthpiece on you. So stop all that internet crying and stuff like that, man. For real. And we got a long ways to go to really lock in with each other. I'm talking about the melanated man and woman, because it's a lot more dysfunction than understanding and loving